When was the last time you thought about living in an airplane? Yes, just like that resourceful woman from the US who turned a jetliner into a cozy little nest. Have you heard about the tree houses in Indonesia that are so high up that not just anyone can climb up there? In this video, I'm going to tell you about these incredible homes where, believe it or not, people actually live. Get ready to be amazed. These housing adventures are sure to leave you speechless. After losing her home to a fire, Jean Asri came up with a wild idea: to live in an airplane. She bought an old Boeing 727 that was retired and sent it to a piece of land she already owned, spending 6 months on renovations, doing most of the work herself. She ended up with a fully functional home with about 1,500 square feet of living space, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and even a jacuzzi. All this for less than $30,000 in prices of the second half of the 90s of the 20th century, and $59,000 in 2024. Asri, a cosmetologist from Benoit, Mississippi, had no professional ties to aviation and just went along with her brother-in-law's unusual suggestion, who was an air traffic controller. She lived in the airplane from 1995 to 1999 until it was irreparably damaged after a fall during transport. Although Asri wasn't the first person to ever live in an airplane, her flawless execution of the project had an inspiring effect. In a world where architecture aims for harmony with nature and innovation, a glass house has emerged, created by the already well-known designer from Tokyo, Sufu Fujimoto. This unique project is a 3-story structure surrounded by transparent surfaces, like a treehouse, but with a modern twist. Instead of walls, there are solid windows that create a sense of space and freedom. The steel structures, positioned at different levels, serve as the foundation for this unusual home. The lack of a central staircase is made up for by a series of steps that connect the different areas inside the building. The interior is done in a minimalist style, with just a few pieces of furniture, highlighting the simplicity and elegance of the space. To maintain privacy, there are curtains that serve as temporary partitions. You can't miss a house like that, especially in the context of Japanese design, which is known for its originality and innovation. Deep in the Indonesian forests, far from civilization, lives the Papuan tribe of Kalufo, also known as Karawai. These people have never seen the modern world and live in harmony with nature, preserving their ancient traditions and customs. One of the most amazing aspects of this tribe's life is their ability to build tree houses. They use banyan trees for this, cutting off the tops and creating walls and roofs from the branches. The huts are usually built 33 to 49 feet off the ground, making them hard to access for outsiders. The only way to get to the houses is by a sticky ladder, which is pretty tough for an untrained person to climb. The height of the house is really important in Kalupos society. The only way to get to the house is by a sticky ladder, which is pretty tough for an untrained person to climb. The height of the house is really important in Kalupos society. The higher the dwelling, the greater the influence a person has on their fellow tribesmen. There are known cases where a hut was built at a height of 164 feet. That's truly an impressive height. The life of the Kalupo tribe is an amazing example of how people can exist in harmony with the surrounding nature, using its resources to create a unique way of life. The Basco Vertical complex consists of 2 high-rise buildings, one reaching a height of 249 feet and the other 360 feet 9 inches, with 18 and 26 floors, respectively. The uniqueness of the project lies in its unusual appearance. Instead of traditional walls, the facades of the buildings are adorned with greenery, creating the illusion of a vertical forest. This original design earned the complex the name Vertical Forest. The project was created by the architectural firm Bulleri under the leadership of Stefano Bulleri. According to the architect, the concept for the construction came from Italo Calvino's work, The Baron in the Trees, from 1957, where the main character decides to live among the branches of the trees forever. On the facades of both towers, there are about 900 trees, 550 on the taller building and 350 on the smaller one, along with over 11,000 perennial plants and 5,000 shrubs. The total green area covers over 322,000 square feet, featuring more than 90 different species of plants. In southern Spain, in the region of Andalusia, there's an amazing little town called Sentinel de las Bodegas. Seeing it for the first time can give you a strange sense of unease. Some streets of the city are literally drowning in the shadow of huge cliffs hanging over the houses. These massive stone blocks seem to be about to collapse. but they have been reliably protecting residents from bad weather for 8 centuries. Today, about 3,000 people live in this town. The history of the settlement goes back many centuries, although the basalt rocks that form the basis for the development have existed for much longer. Sentinel de las Bodegas features homes built into natural caves, with some appearing traditional but actually inside cliffs. The peculiarity of the architecture of Sentinel is that most of the living quarters are natural caves, expanded and equipped for living. Some houses look quite traditional from the outside, but are actually located inside the rocks. These unique buildings are historical monuments in themselves, and a walk through the city turns into a fascinating journey through the past. Even though Sentinel de las Bodegas can't be called a large settlement, it covers an impressive area of 202 acres. Coober Pedy is known as the opal capital of the world due to its significant opal production. Its origin is associated with the world's largest opal deposit, from where up to 90% of all these precious stones on the planet are mined. This is why Coober Pedy is deservedly considered the opal capital of the world. The heat on the surface is so intense that underground homes become a real refuge for locals who prefer to stay below ground. The population of this unusual town is small, with only about 2,000 people. Buying a home here can really be a stroke of luck. There have been cases where homeowners, while expanding their underground houses, accidentally discovered rich deposits of opals. In Coober Pedy, electricity is generated using solar panels, which keeps the cost extremely low, especially with the bright sun shining almost all day. The exterior of Coober Pedy looks quite exotic. Thanks to its unique landscape, the town has become a filming location for famous movies like Mad Max 3 and Black Hole. Lagos, despite its reputation as a wealthy city, shows a stark contrast between the lives of the privileged minority and the majority of the local population. Wealth is concentrated in the hands of workers from international industrial companies that extract the country's resources and officials. Yeah, it's really sad. Yeah, it's really sad. Yeah, it's really, really sad. Yes, very sad. Yeah, it's really sad. Most residents are forced to live in extreme poverty, dwelling in slums known as Makoko or the Black Venice. Makoko is an area built on stilts in the middle of the waterways. There are no basic amenities here. There's no drinking water, electricity, or sewage. Residents cram into shabby huts built on wooden platforms. The lack of sanitation contributes to the spread of diseases, and life expectancy in these areas is extremely low. Wooden boats are the main mode of transportation, and waste is dumped directly into the water where kids play. The habitat is a unique structure that even today grabs attention with its extravagance. And in 1967, when this building was first revealed to the public, it caused a real sensation. The house is made up of 354 cubes stacked on top of each other in what seems like a chaotic way at first glance. However, the seemingly random arrangement hides a well-thought-out structure of a residential complex with 154 apartments. One of the features of the building is that almost every apartment has access to its own terrace with a garden, located on the roof of the lower floor. The entrance halls are a complex system of covered corridors and stairways that form a real labyrinth. The location of an apartment relative to the entrance to the building significantly affects its cost. The farther you are from the entrance, the more expensive it gets. For example, a 1,248 square foot apartment will cost around $500,000. The creator of this unusual structure is architect Moshe Safi. His goal was to create a space for comfortable living in a densely built urban environment without using traditional high-rise architecture. The building was assembled from pre-prepared modules in just a month, which allowed for a quick provision of housing for a large number of people. Steel cables were used to assemble the cubic elements, and there are 3 rows of elevators to provide access to the upper floors. Despite the visual chaos, all the elements of the building are arranged according to a strict plan, creating the impression of a complex game of children's building blocks. In 2014, Japanese architect So Fujimoto brought his project to life on the Mediterranean coast in France, winning a bid to build an eco-friendly house with solar panels in the city of Montpellier. The building is a residential high-rise, but in addition to apartments, it includes an art gallery on the first floor and a rooftop restaurant with a bar that offers a stunning panoramic view. Residents of the 17-story L'Arbre Blanc skyscraper which translates to white tree, only need 5 minutes to reach the historic city center, and in 10 minutes, they can be at the beach. However, you can enjoy the beauty of the surrounding architecture and the sunset from your own balcony, which is at least 75 square feet in size. These unusual balconies not only provide a nice shade for the residents, but also improve air circulation in the apartments. The tower, located on the banks of the Les River, symbolizes life and beauty, becoming a true gem of the area. John Milkovich from Houston, Texas, USA, turned his habit of collecting empty beer cans into something more than just a simple hobby. He decided to use them to decorate his home, taking collecting to a whole new level. At first, the neighbors were not too keen on this approach, but over time, John's house became a local landmark and a symbol of folk creativity. To decorate his home, Milkovich used about 50 beer cans, which raises some eyebrows about whether he actually drank all that beer himself. The work started back in the late 1960s and lasted for 30 years. Besides inlaying the house itself, John made flower pots out of beer cans and bottles, built a fence, a gazebo, and even paved the yard. The work began in the late 1960s and lasted 30 years. In addition to inlaying the house itself, John made flower pots from beer cans and bottles, built a fence, a gazebo, and even paved the yard. One of the most notable examples of houses inspired by the world of hobbits from Tolkien's works is the Hobbit House in Wales, UK. This house stands out for its warmth, eco-friendliness, and impressive appearance. The construction took 4 months, and the homeowner, along with family and friends, turned their dream into reality. Nestled on a hill, away from the hustle and bustle of the modern world, the house offers seclusion and tranquility. The frame of the house is made from oak reinforcement elements, while the walls and foundation are constructed from clay and stone. The insulation system is based on using straw bales, which are laid on the walls, floors, and roof. The energy supply is provided by solar panels, highlighting the Dale family's commitment to maximum eco-friendliness. In a small village called Borova in the Kemerovo region of Russia lives Nikolai Orkov, who decided to turn his dream into reality. He built an unusual 3-deck house that looks like a ship. The height of the house is 29.5 feet, and its length is 45 feet 9 inches. Originally, Nikolai planned to build a bathhouse, but in the end, he ended up with a real ship-shaped house. It has everything you need for comfortable living. The galley, the wardroom with 4 living rooms, the wheelhouse, where the greenhouse is located, because Nikolai's wife loves flowers. The locals have nicknamed this house Nikolai's Ark, but the owner himself prefers to compare it to the legendary ghost ship, the Flying Dutchman. This project demonstrates that with desire and perseverance, even the wildest dreams can come true. Talented Pennsylvania artists have found inspiration in old, unwanted windows, turning them into material for building their unique homes. They picked up construction scraps at local sales and decided to build a cozy house in the picturesque mountains of West Virginia, choosing the perfect spot for their new nest. The one-story house, using repurposed materials, was built for $500. Using recycled materials, they built a spacious home for $500. The double windows used in the construction of the house's facade created a stunning stained glass effect while also providing excellent sound and thermal insulation. By using construction waste and recycled materials, the couple was able to build a spacious and comfortable home for only $500 in materials. Architecture is inseparably linked to our everyday lives and surrounds us everywhere, becoming an integral part of our existence. A person can adapt to any conditions, and when you throw in a bit of imagination, you can end up with some pretty unique structures. Hey friends, I have an interesting offer for you. You have a unique opportunity to become part of our team. If you have video editing skills, can voice videos in Russian, English, and other languages, or write interesting scripts, we will be glad to work with you. Message our Telegram bot. The link is in the description. And that's all for today, everyone. Bye-bye.